And clocking it isn't an option.
No, you have to field the snap cleanly.
And clocking it isn't an option.
No, you have to field the snap cleanly.
And clocking it isn't an option.
No, you have to field the snap cleanly.
And clocking it isn't an option.
See from your perspective on the spike play?
Same thing you did. The ball went backwards 6 yards. I saw a fumble and a spike that went backwards 6 yards.
Sam, what did you see from your perspective on the spike play?
Same thing you did. The ball went backwards 6 yards.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Yo, what's going on, Arkansas Razorback fans, SEC fans everywhere? Welcome to the Pig Trail Network. I know notifications did not go out. I have no idea what's going on with that. I don't know if YouTube's having some issues today or what. I checked 2 other accounts that we have. Neither one of them on YouTube got notifications. And then I texted some friends of mine, and they said, nope, didn't get a notification. So I don't know what the deal is. But thank you guys so much for stopping by, being a part, being here. Please like, share, comment, question, subscribe if you haven't already. I was going to wear this today, but then I thought, no, I better not, because I want to wait. I haven't even put it on yet, but I finally got it in. I ordered this thing 6 months. 6 months ago. You got a notification, Greg? Okay, that's good to hear, because none of our YouTube accounts here in the house did, because we have like 5 different accounts in this house. None of them got a notification, and then just to make sure, it's why it took me a little bit to get on here, because then I texted some friends. I said, hey, do me a favor, go check your sub box. There were no notifications. So I don't know. Check this out. Ordered this 6 months ago. You better be wearing an SEC Refs Suck shirt. No, believe me, I'd love to have that made. Aaron Donald! 6 months ago. It's the official Nike, dude. Look at this. This is so clean. I know you guys aren't Rams fans. I know some of you probably don't care about the NFL. Ooh, there it is. There's the NFL, the Nike, the 3XL, because I'm a fat guy. I love these jerseys, man. I know some people didn't like the faded. I'm not going to lie. The faded numbers kind of. And then, of course, I have the helmet that I ordered a little while back that was on discount. There's the helmet. I showed you guys that, though. I'm a diehard Rams fan. Have been since 1994 when they moved to St. Louis. I stuck with them. The GOAT, Aaron Donald. Did you guys see what they did? What was it, 5 or 6 team sacks? I think he had at least. I think he was accredited for 3 or 4. They were kind of gang tackles, though. That Rams defense, man. When they're on, they're on. It's the best. He's the best. I'm sorry. He's the best defensive player in the NFL. Don't at me. Dylan Bray says, I've been waiting to drive to Birmingham to burn down an undisclosed building. Okay, let's not be doing that. I wouldn't be saying that sort of stuff on YouTube. So happy that the wig is gone. The wig has been gone, Alex. What are you talking about? I just keep glancing over at it. The stitching is a lot better than I thought it would be. All right, on to business. If you hear my neighbor's dog, I apologize. Our houses are really close together, and he's a big dog. When he barks, the whole neighborhood hears. He's a big dude. He's adorable, though. His name's Duke. He just wants Lubbins all the time. Still sucks we got robbed, but onto the Rebels. Can't let it get to him. Just keep playing hard. Right. So, wanted to show you guys something. Sam Pittman has decided to turn in the film, turn in the game film. I meant to reword this description on this video. I did not. But the caption was going to be Sam Pittman turns in video. And I actually put that on Twitter. That happened. Now, this is fresh. I recorded it. I did not have time to you got me into the Rams. 1994, man. There's my class picture in junior high, 7th grade. I'm wearing an Isaac Bruce, number 80. This is 97, man. This is before the greatest show on turf. This is before Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Ricky Prohl. This is before those guys. Little, Windstrom, London Fletcher. Golly, those were the good days. But anyways, I recorded this really quick. It is raw, so bear with me. But here's what Sam Pittman had to say. I think it was Trey Biddy who asked the question about turning in film. So here it is. And give me a second here. OBS is being a little tricky. Here we go.
Trey Biddy.
Hey, Coach, I'm sure you're probably ready to move on from this. So last question on it, but did you send any plays into the SEC offices for review, and have you gotten any kind of response from them, whether an apology or an explanation?
Yeah, we got we sent in, I don't know, usually, Trey, we'll send in 5 to 6 plays to look at, and I think it's probably about what we sent in this week. Some of them were alignments on our punt team, were we too deep? And we were on some of those as well. There were some new kids in there that we have to coach them up better and things of that nature. But yes, I've heard from the head of officials and I'm at peace with it. I don't really know what to say, I don't want to go into it, but I heard from the head of officials and I understand what happened now, and so we'll move forward on it. But I'm disappointed in the outcome, I can tell you that.
Scotty.
Hey, Sam, I wanted to ask you about your top.
All right. So there you have it. I watched it just a little bit ago. I didn't know about it. Someone had tweeted, and again, I think that was Trey Biddy who asked the question. Yeah, you can hear the disappointment. I agree. I know we don't want to beat this into the ground. I know it's like beating a dead horse. We've already seen some fans on Twitter and on Facebook. They're like, all right, enough. We lost. Time to move on. By the way, this is a Monday reaction show to what happened on Saturday. So anyone who's going to bitch and moan that we're still talking about it, I don't know, go get bent. I don't know what to tell you. It's what we do. It's Monday reaction, just like the post-game reaction. The issue that everyone has known, including the big SEC teams, the winning franchises, the winning programs that are ranked every year, the Bamas, the Georgias, the Floridas, they know this as well as the Tennessees, the Arkansas, the Mississippi States, the Ole Misses. The top is protected in this league. And when I mean top, Auburn is not a top-tier team. Let's be real, okay? How long has it been since they were really, really relevant? They're on and off again seems like 4 years, maybe a competitor to compete with in the SEC West every 3 or 4 years. Gus gets his back against the wall. He finds a way to beat Alabama, and he keeps his job. Of course, he leverages Arkansas to get for them to keep. They don't want to play against him. They don't want to play against Gus. They don't want the embarrassment, and they're afraid they can't replace him, right? Like, are you going to be able to replace him with someone better at that given point in time? And he leverages Arkansas. It's part of my hatred of I shouldn't say hate. I don't know that I hate anybody, but part of my dislike of Gus is that he's leveraged Arkansas at least twice in his contract negotiations to keep his job. And it's always after he beats Alabama, right? He negotiates those things, and that's smart. I mean, that's the businessman approach. I get it. But the league protects its top teams. Now, we can go back and say that, well, was it just bad officiating? Was it a missed call? My belief is that, well, the conclusion that I'm coming to with this is that Arkansas in these types of games don't get the better officials. Those better officials, the higher graded officials, because they get graded on what they do. It's not released to the public, but they get scored. As far as I know, it's not released to the public. Maybe it is. I've just never seen it. But I think you get stuck with the lesser refs. I'm starting to think that. And I said this on the postgame show. I'm not one to buy into. I'm not a tinfoil hat Alex Jones InfoWars conspiracy theorist. I don't buy into the fact that the SEC hates Arkansas. Well, that's ridiculous. No, they don't. Now, if you're going to talk about how many fans are watching the game versus, Arkansas played Mississippi State versus, whatever other big matchup is in the league. Yeah, Arkansas is going to be near the bottom, and they know that, and we know that. But to me, it feels like this wasn't a big game, even though it got moved over to ESPN, but that was at the last minute. I think you got stuck with the bad officials, and it goes back to the SEC protecting its top. You go back to the scheduling. Guys, you don't have to look far. And I know a lot of you know this. A lot of you listen to the Hog Talk. You listen to me. We've talked about this before. You're smart, intelligent fans. And I'm not saying that being patronizing, or I'm not trying to patronize you. We all know. Most Hog fans get it. The top is protected in this conference. And I hate that victim BS. I hate it, but it is the truth. Again, you don't have to look far. Georgia got Arkansas week 1. I mean, come on. They couldn't match up Arkansas and Kentucky, Arkansas and South Carolina. No, they had to give Georgia Arkansas. We know why. Most of the big teams got the cupcake. They got the matchups they wanted. LSU, Mississippi State. That didn't go the way they thought it would, though, did it? And I honestly loved it. I loved watching that. I loved watching LSU get beat by Mississippi State because that blew up in the SEC front office's face. I hate this conference. I hate it. I hate it because if you're not Alabama, if you're not Florida, if you're not Georgia, you're an afterthought in this league. And again, I hate that victim bullshit. I hate that approach. I hate that mentality. I've never liked it. I don't like, when my kids try to cry victim, I'm like, hold on. We don't have that temperament in this house, that attitude. But that is the truth about this conference. They do not look after the rest of this conference. The SEC, let's fast forward to this week. Sam Pittman said it himself. He reached out. He talked to him. Did he say he got an apology? I didn't hear that. Grant only listened to it once in the middle of getting onto my kids because they're fighting as I'm trying to get all this done, get ready for the show. I didn't hear him say they apologized. Instead, the SEC doubled down and they put out some bullshit excuse that even more professionals, more, former officials, NFL officials came out and were like, no, but hold on, what? What? Like, you've seen and heard the voices. You've heard what even – don't get me wrong. SEC Network's going to toe the company line. That's exactly what Hunter Yurachek did. Someone mentioned that in chat. It's a good point. They toe the company line, and it's about protecting the top. Again, Auburn's not the top, but they are ranked. I don't know how many more games they win this year because Auburn does not look good. But if you're the SEC down in Alabama, you're enthusiastic just because you're still ranked. You're going to protect the guys that make the money. You're going to protect the guys that have the most butts and seats watching games. And that's just the truth. Again, I wonder if they're handing out the lesser, lower-graded officials to these games that don't really matter and they only save them for the big games. I don't know. I don't know how that works. I don't know how again, take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not the source to be going to or quoting on that, but it seems like it. I mean, how often do we talk about this? Look at basketball. SEC officiating is just bad across the board. Basketball, they really are bad. They are awful. Go back to that LSU Arkansas game earlier in the year. In that post game, I went off. That was the worst officiated game that I ever saw. And what was that game in the grand scheme? It was a meaningless game. But it seems like the more meaningful games that you watch, it's like, the officiating's not as bad as what Arkansas got against LSU. Or that game wasn't as bad as Vanderbilt and, Missouri. This game, this Kentucky versus whatever other blue blood, Kentucky versus a ranked opponent, this game seems to be officiated better. And there are bad calls. I'm not saying they don't exist. It just feels like it's all like the curtains have been kind of pulled back. The SEC favors the ranked, and the teams are going to pull more viewership. When Arkansas wins, maybe that changes. I don't know. It's just, again, it's not. I see it more as just, again, we've kind of pulled back the curtains, and we're just now figuring out, wait a minute, holy shit, this is worse than we thought. The SEC didn't apologize. They doubled down. And it just goes back to how would this have unfolded if it were the other way around? Would the SEC maybe not overturn the game? Because I think the likelihood of that happening, guys, is, I don't know, it's about as likely as It's not going to happen. You just don't see that happen. But would they issue an apology? Would they have doubled down? Would they have handled things a little bit better? I don't like that Hunter Yurchek towed the company line. You could tell he said in his tweet that he wasn't happy about how it unfolded. It is what it is. It happened. I agree. You're on to Ole Miss. I agree. I can already hear the comments later. Oh, just shut the hell up and get on. Just move on. It is what it is. But it's worth addressing. And again, it is a Monday show, reaction show. I'm just disappointed. I'm disappointed in this league. I hate this conference. I really do wish Arkansas was in another conference. I really do. I've not talked about that a lot. I've thought that for a while, just simply because I think the better rivalries, the better games are in the Big 12, if you want my honest opinion. But the money's not there. You'd be crazy to pull out. Wouldn't it be nice to see Arkansas play Oklahoma, Texas Tech? That'd be great. I think that'd be some good football, at least in terms of what you're up against compared to the SEC. Do you have a real rival in this conference? And everyone says LSU. Really? Does LSU see it that way? Mizzou takes the battle line rivalry seriously. Arkansas fans don't. We laugh at it. Like, who cares? And they're beating us. Like, what's the record? 4-1 or 4-2 or whatever. They're beating us. They have the advantage in that, and we're still like, we don't care. It's a manufactured front office SEC bullshit rivalry, and we all know it. I wish Arkansas would get out of I wish the SEC would either drop in total value in the checks that they hand out for the TV contracts with the SEC network. I wish they were worth shit, and Arkansas could bounce the Big 12. That's my honest opinion. I hate this conference. I hate how they don't look after the other 10 teams in this conference. They don't give a shit. They don't. Let's call it like it is. They don't care. They do not care. If they cared, they would have issued an apology. Maybe they will by the end of the week. Hell, I don't know. I doubt it. Greg Sankey he's posting scripture on Twitter, and he's not even acknowledging that Arkansas got completely screwed over. At least I didn't see that. I'm just disappointed. I'm really disappointed. Would an apology make things better? Probably not. But at least it shows that the SEC is humble. Like, all right, we messed up. That is our bad, Arkansas fans. You won that game. I don't know if you guys have seen Wiki. If you go to Wiki, check out Auburn's record. It's posted as 1-2. Arkansas, the Razorback football Wiki page has Arkansas posted 2-1. I did not ever expect them to overturn. You're crazy if you thought they're going to overturn that again. You're probably more likely to walk outside and get struck by lightning on a clear day than for that to happen on any level, college or NFL. On to Cincinnati. On to Cincinnati. On to Cincinnati. I think the team will have – so Mark Douglas has a really good question, and I didn't really want to focus on Ole Miss. That's typically on Friday when I focus on the next team, but this is a good point. Mark Douglas wants to know, do you think the team will have a negative hangover from the emotional heart-ripping the way they got screwed last week? I don't know, but that's the question, isn't it? That's the million-dollar question. It's like coming out of Mississippi State. Can they handle that success? You got an upset. Mississippi State just got exposed thanks to Odom. How do you handle success in your head? In your I don't know if you guys played sports. When you got a big win in high school, junior high, sports, whatever, you know that temperament, that attitude, that the whatever you want to call it, like it carries over. Either for better or for worse, it carries over into the next game, and maybe your focus isn't where it should be. And this week, it's the opposite. It's the heart ripping, like Mark put. That's a good question. That's the million-dollar question. Are they going to let this game? Are they going to let the SEC, not Auburn, the SEC beat them 2 weeks in a row? How do you overcome bad officiating, guys? How do you do it? How do you do it? I don't know how you do it. But the SEC let this team down. The SEC let these guys down. I wish I had a bigger helmet. I have a smaller one somewhere. It's like this big. The SEC let these guys down. That's how big you feel in this conference. Again, you guys wonder, some of you, and I know someone's going to say, you'd be crazy. And I agree. You would be crazy to leave this conference. The payout's too big. The value's too high in the SEC. I think you'd be stupid to leave. I just wish it was the other way around. I wish the Big 12 was worth more, and they didn't completely suck like they do this year. God, they're terrible. Did you guys watch the Red River Shootout? How many overtimes did that game see? I mean, they're just so bad. Like, they're not helping themselves. Basketball and baseball, they're all right at. SEC loves Arkansas. They screw us every chance they get. Just wish they'd kiss us first. The South Park Cartman clip that was shared on Twitter was gold. It was gold. I can't repeat it here, but yeah, I wish you'd wine and dine us after what happened Saturday night. I hate the loss for him. Oh, you're talking about Sam Pittman. You could tell he's kind of heartbroken by it. He worked so hard for the win and just to have it snatched away. Well, he worked hard in the team. Absolutely. I agree. I'm glad he kept his composure on the field. He did. I think I would have been put in jail or kicked out of maybe fired. I mean, you see how I am now, and you saw how I was after. For those of you who are at the live, the post game. If you're not making the post game shows, you guys are missing out. Those are fun. Chat's great. I'm usually flapping my fat mouth. Our record is 2-1. The score may not show it. This team, and that's the other thing. My nose is itching like crazy. That's the other thing. Oh man, they just continue to look. We thought they were down and out. What was it, 17-0? And they fought back. Kendall Briles got something clicking on offense. I was so impressed by that. I really was. Dylan Bray says the SEC sucks. I agree. I'm ready for Arkansas to leave to the Big 12. At least we have historical and geographic rivals in the league. Thank you, Dylan. You and I are on the same page. Again, I know that's not popular with everybody. There might be a few people in here that are all about it, but you ask any Arkansas fan, hell no, stay in the SEC where you're winning at the top. How can you win when you got to beat the damn refs every week? What are you supposed to do? Look at 09 Florida. Look at that game, that trash call on Malcolm Shepard. And then fast forward here, and there's been times in between, just not as significant, and they didn't change. This directly changed the outcome of the freaking game. It should have been ball handed over to the Razorbacks, game over, trying to combine the two in one word. It was bullshit. We all know it. It was ridiculous. So I'm getting riled up. Like it's just crazy to me that they messed that up. And someone even said it. I forgot if it was the NFL, the former NFL official, or who, but they had said they had probably never seen that call before. That they had never seen that. What does that tell you? They didn't have the A-team refs on the field for this game. I'm telling you, Arkansas's an afterthought. Vanderbilt's an afterthought. South Carolina's an afterthought. Why are you in a league that gives two shits about you? Oh, that's right, money. Are you valuing money over wins? And it's a business. Guys, not to get political, I'm a fan of capitalism, not going to lie. I don't mind it. I think it's actually been pretty great. It's got its negativities, the bad side of it. This is an example of that. They're favoring the value of the money. And you can't build a program without money. You can't, look what's going on with COVID and the effect that's going to have. Oh man, we're at the tip of the iceberg, because of ticket sales, right? It's going to get worse. They've already had to decrease the salary of staff. It's only going to get worse. We need to get over this stuff so we can get more butts and seats in the games, ticket sales, merchandise, the spending that you do when you're in Fayetteville. We need that all back. It's only going to get worse. But I better stop. It's so aggravating. Arkansas versus LSU, Arkansas versus South Carolina are both some of the worst officiated games I've ever seen. If you're talking about basketball, oh my gosh. Why stay in a conference that hates us? I'm tired of being treated like a redhead stepchild. On another note, ATM has been hit with another NCAA recruiting violation. Jimbo can't do any home visits for a year or two. I didn't know that. That must be breaking news. Of course that happens when I go live. I believe A&M game is a low-key rival. It's low-key only because it's a former Southwest Conference opponent, and it is low-key. I think if you had a rival, that's your rival, and it should be. Why that one's not trumped up more, I have no idea. You've had some great games. They haven't been meaningful, other than just Arkansas losing. I can't believe they've lost so often to A&M. It's just depressing. I'm over Auburn. It's time for Odom and our defense to make a name against Ole Miss, make Alabama defense look bad. Says Azazian. I'm not over Auburn. I'm still not. I'm pissed off about it, Azazian. Sorry, I'm not sorry. It's bullshit. We all know it. It's so ridiculous. Oh God, it's like staying in a broken marriage when your wife beats the crap out of you every day. I'm definitely not implying anything. I'm kidding. Missed the Southwest Conference. Man, there's some great games. There were some great rivalries there. Ty spitting facts. Yeah. The new league commish is a total a-hole. Even Auburn fans are saying we got screwed. Yeah, a lot of people are. I don't go to Tiger droppings, but I guess they were, and that's a place where everyone just likes to troll everybody. And I guess even a lot of hard-headed individuals there were claiming, like, yeah, Auburn, you lost this game and you know it. It's time to revive the Southwest Conference, but add the Oklahoma schools and another 2. Wouldn't that be amazing, though? Like, just from the ashes, the old Southwest Conference, man. Those are rivalries. Oh, my gosh. Some great football. I'll sit and watch old games. I don't know everyone's names, but I'm like, oh, look at that. That was great. Southwest Conference, some great matchups, some historical matchups. Yeah. It makes sense, too, right? Traveling, going to Texas and Oklahoma, right next door, just right to the west of you. Not that you travel super far in the SEC West, but still. Commish Sankey. Someone called him he's the SEC equivalent of oh my gosh, I'm blanking on Roger Goodell. And I'm like, no, I don't know about that, because at least Roger Goodell will address the issue, even though, man, and he'll have a stance on certain things every once in a while, even though it may not be super popular. I think Arkansas players will be angry with what happened, and then it showed against what they showed against Ole Miss. Either that or they go flat and get destroyed. I don't believe there's a middle ground. There may not be. I'm not prepared. Obviously, I do all that towards the middle and the end of the week. I haven't even begun. I've watched Ole Miss play one quarter of football this year. I saw the highlights this last weekend. I've seen some other highlights, throughout the year. They look good. They look really good. It just makes you wonder, where's the defense in the SEC? Arkansas is I think their yards per game, they're like top 5. Did I see that right? Top 5, top 6. There's something going on when Arkansas's at the top, right? Yeah, Odom's been great. Don't get me wrong, but when you talk about the injuries and everything that's happened throughout the year already, not having starting defensive ends, being without Mo Brown last week, and for Arkansas to be considered one of the higher end percentage-wise defensive programs in the SEC, there's something going on. Obviously, it probably has a lot to do with the unorthodox offseason that we had, right? But you would think that would affect offenses more. I don't know. You can only break those kids' spirits so much. A new coach and a fragile team doesn't need to have wins ripped from their hands. They will give up. Look, I hope they respond. I hope their mentality going into this is screw everybody. It's us against the world. If we've got to overcome not only, I don't know that players look at it this way, and I don't know that coaches necessarily look at it this way, but in the back of their minds they probably do. You've got to overcome better talent, let's be honest, 75% of the season. Great coaches in this league. There's some high caliber coaches, assistants, coordinators, you name it. And the SEC officiating, as if this league isn't already impossible. I hope their mentality going into this next game is screw the world. Like Rambo said, I can't repeat what he said, but he says blank the world. What was that? Rambo 4? Is that the fourth one? Blank the world. They would have cut her head off. I'm not going to repeat the rest. That's very rated R. But actually, when he gets to the back of that Jeep with the 50 cal, that was actually an underrated Rambo flick. Not going to lie. The first one is the best. The second one is the second best. The third one, scrolling down, cheer. I kind of feel for LSU. They now know what Arkansas felt like in 2012. That's a good point. That's a good point, because Arkansas loses Petrino, and they knew, okay, we just lost the guy that built this team from the ground up, and we'll be okay. And they weren't. LSU loses the roster turnover, the passing coordinator. They lose all the giants of this team. Well, on top of four guys that opted out because of COVID. I'm telling you. Patrick Champion says, Tyzilla, what's up, Patrick? How you doing? How's it going, man? You mean the F Troop refs? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Redheaded stepchild. Redheaded stepchildren get paid to be stepchildren. Sorry, I don't have my glasses. You're not wrong. What up, Ty? What's up, big man Ross? How you doing? You heard it here first. Lose one more game this year. I just cannot decide if it's Bama or Florida. This is if we stay at 90% healthy. We're much better than we realize. For those bashing Felipe Franks, you're 3 brain cells above. You are 3 brain cells above a monkey. He played his heart out. He will only get better. Okay, we got to address a couple of things. First off, you're losing more than one game. All right? I may have said Sam Pittman has won me over, but you're losing more than one game, Mr. TW. I can't get behind that. But they're showing some fight. They're showing it, aren't they? Felipe Franks has outperformed everyone's expectations. This guy, I hope he continues to do that. My Florida friends are still warning me, like, you're coming up for a big letdown, but it's like, you know what? That's football. He might have a bad game. It could be this weekend. Shouldn't be. Ole Miss's defense is a joke from what I could see and from what I've read. They're a joke. He should rip them to shreds. This offense, if you can roll against who I think is a better defense in Auburn, that's yet to be seen, but still. If you could put together what we saw at the end of the second quarter and then into the second half, if you can do that on a far more talented Auburn team compared to what Ole Miss has on defense, they should roll all over Ole Miss on offense. We'll see what they can do on the defensive side of the ball. This should at least be an asterisk next to our record for a possible bowl down the road. That's a good point. I don't know how they do. Do they do that? Is that something they're willing to do? Best Arkansas defense I've seen in a long, long time. That first half though. What was Auburn averaging? Like 8.5, 9 yards a carry. But they did make adjustments, and that matters. It was a big deal. You lose 30 players in a season, you're going to have a bad time. That's exactly right. If we didn't get 25 games in basketball, I'll be sad. We were robbed, says Dutchman. Okay, we're caught up on chat. Let's go over these game notes really quick. I know what we have to talk about it. I'm about to go on a rant again. Okay, I'm going to give you a second to prepare yourselves. I'm tripping all over myself today. If you got kids nearby, earmuffs. I don't know what's going on with special teams. I'm going to tell you right now, if that game had not ended with the controversy that it had, fans would be calling. If it was the same, let's just say it's the same score without the controversy, fans would be calling for special teams coordinator Scott Fountain's head. He has done a piss-poor job this year on special teams. No one's really addressing it. I don't know why. Special teams have been a damn joke. They've been a major problem this year. The only thing bad, consistent with this team, run blocking up until this last week, has been special teams so far in 2020. Punt coverage has been atrocious. Georgia averaged close to 20 yards a return. Guys, that's not on just like one return. I think their average right at about on 3 or 4 returns. Jaden Wally with Mississippi State had 2 returns. He had a 20-yard return. He averaged 11 yards a return. Christian Tutt had 3 returns for 30 yards. You do the math, that's 10 yards a return. His longest punt return being 12 yards, which isn't terrible. But about every game you've given up, actually I think Auburn had another punt returner go for double digits. But your punt return or your punt coverage has been atrocious. You're getting flagged on 4th down. I think they had 3 penalties against the special teams against Auburn. Of course, the block punt. Of course, the problems that you had earlier in the year on special teams. It's been a joke. Not everyone uses a special teams coordinator, by the way. You remember when Barry Lunny took over those responsibilities? If this doesn't improve, and I know I can already hear it. Oh, here comes Ty again. He's about to say fire somebody. If this doesn't improve by the end of the year, I say you reallocate his money, what he's getting paid. I hate to say that. I've heard he's a good guy. I've seen his interviews. He seems like a good dude. I'd love to sit down and have a beer with him and ask him why the hell your special teams suck at Arkansas. Maybe it's a personnel issue. I don't know. They've been awful. They have been terrible. It's got to get fixed. It cost them the game. Well, that and the decision to go for 2 points on back-to-back tries, the missed field goal, the missed extra point. I don't understand the decision there. Yeah, we could talk about bringing in Malik Hornsby. That's another subject. They did the same thing with KJ a little while back. But special teams cost this game if you take away the how that game ended. It still did. Special teams have been awful. The mistakes on fourth down, on punt, on punting downs, coverage, you name it, it's absolutely killing the Razorbacks. You cannot give up. Look, 10 yards of return is too much anyways. I don't know what their punt return average is on the year, but it's got to be like 13, 14 yards. That's not good. You're giving up 15-yard returns. You have an opportunity to pin them back around their 12 or behind their 15. You lose that opportunity, and the return man's able to get it up closer to about the 25, 30-yard line. Guys, that's huge. That's huge. Has anybody, even in high school football, you understand the importance of field position. You can't win field. They've had, I think, 1, maybe 2 punts all year back behind the 20. Maybe 1, maybe 2 behind the 10 if you're lucky. Luckily for the Hogs, they have a hell of a punter. That dude can absolutely punt the football. George Caratan, he had 4 punts for 179 yards against Auburn for almost 45 yards on average. But your average in that game is about 35 yards. But if you sometimes that's more. You're trying to play field position. Average people look too much into punt average. That doesn't really matter. What matters is punt coverage and how often you could pin them back behind the 20. Caratan had a 51-yard punt. Great. You've got a punter with a strong leg. Get someone down the field to freaking cover. It's been terrible. And, again, I know that's, there's been some improvement all across this team. But the one area where I feel like they've actually regressed is special teams. And I don't know how that happens when you hire someone of his caliber. I mean, this is a guy that coached some big-time moments or was the special teams coordinator with some big-time moments in SEC history. And he comes here, and it's an absolute flop. It is what it is. They got to get it fixed. That's it, period. Got to get it fixed. I think University of Arkansas could protest the win and force an asterisk, but it would cost us a lot of political capital with the SEC. That's actually a good point, Dylan. Special teams, what really cost us that game? Yeah, absolutely. Tylus from the land of Razorback. I love that name, Tylus. It sounds like a Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings. Tylus, the high elf. Yeah, special teams has been consistently bad. They have. And again, not everyone uses a special teams coordinator. Think about it. You've already had to cut back salary. Maybe that's how you get some of it back. And by the end of the year, you say, look, you either put up or shut up. By the end of the year, and if it doesn't happen, we're going to have to go another route. 3 out-of-bounds kickoffs didn't help either. Arkansas has improved enough that they have a chance to beat – wait, what? Arkansas has improved enough that they have to cheat to beat the Hogs. Okay, I read that wrong. Haven't been on here in a while. Go Hogs. What's up, Pike Peak? How you doing, man? Fishman says, just my opinion, it's the players on special teams that suck, like our idiot kicker kept kicking out of bounds. I know they were dealing with weather. Yeah, the players haven't been great, but you've had penalties. How many penalties did you have on fourth down? That's stuff that's got to get fixed. Yeah, the coaches can't be on the field, I agree, but there's some things that have to get fixed. And by the way, this isn't the first game where you've had penalties on special teams. It's a mess. That's just all there is to it. Every team we have faced has been good at special teams, putting us inside the 10. Apparently every time we do that, it's a flag. Aaron Level says, I'm not mad about going for 2. Our coach was trying. He's doing everything he can. He knows he needs all the points he can get. They need to put Ty out there on the punt team, then maybe he can make some tackles. Not even 20 years ago when I was in shape would that be the case. Punt efficiency is the metric that matters the most. Yeah. This message is held for review. Dutchman says, put a big ass whipping on every team so we can't get robbed again. If only, right? What political capital? You mean they might make bullshit calls and cost us games? Too late. Do you have an updated win-loss for the season? I've thought about doing that. I wanted to do that after Ole Miss, but all I can say right now is I think they're going to get more wins. I'm not on board with only one more loss like Mr. T-Dub says, but hey, Mr. T-Dub's been right about a lot. All right? Mr. T-Dub has been right about a lot. He was right about Felipe Franks. He was right about Sam Pittman working out, and he was right about Odom. I don't know, man. He says only one loss left. I might have to go to Vegas with that. I don't know. That's a pretty good or a pretty hot take, but the guy is on fire the last 6 months or last few months. I miss Zach Hawker. This is Dr. Pep. We will definitely have a kicker next year. I predict Cameron Little will start. He's highly looked at. It's hard to rank kickers at a high school, but yeah, Dr. Pep, I'm surprised Hawker isn't in the NFL. He was for a while. I think he was actually kicking for didn't he? Or am I thinking of another kicker? I think we lose 2 or 3 more games. I'm in the ballpark. I will say this. If I had a ceiling, I think your ceiling has been lifted to 5 games. I think the ceiling at Arkansas has been lifted to 5 games. I think they can get 5. I think they can win 5. I think 5-5 is absolutely possible. You got to overcome some things. You got to overcome sorry-ass SEC officiating. But they're going to win more games. They are. I feel it, even with all these injuries. There was some more here. I guess they're hoping to get Mo Brown back this week along with Slusher. And apparently Hudson Henry, we weren't given specifics, but Hudson Henry couldn't play last week, which is why you saw Kern play at tight end. Defensive back, they gotta get some stuff solved back there. I don't know what's going on with Devin. I have no idea what's going on with Devin Bush, who was highly recruited. You got a couple of guys back there. Who are the losses to? Bama, Florida. It's yet to be seen. I feel like 5 wins it's within that. When we're looking back, we go, all right, 5-5. Okay, we'll take it. Hudson Clark has played his ass off. They did pick on him a couple plays, on a couple passing plays. I was really impressed. Dude, he attacks the ball. You see how aggressive he played? Like, he wasn't afraid of anything, and that's rare. Like, DBs aren't supposed to tackle that well. That kid tackles. Cover skills, you saw that, what was it, a hitch route? I think the wideout ran a hitch. He clearly lost his footing. That's going to happen. And gave up some yards there, gave up a first down. But other than that, I think they picked on him at least twice. Behind that, he actually played really well. I was in our Hog Talk group message, I was like, oh boy, they've got a big problem at defensive back. And then you watch this kid play, and it's like, all right, well, maybe not. Maybe they'll be okay. But I agree, Parker. He did. He played his ass off. All will be well with a win over Ole Miss. If you asked any Arkansas fan, would you be good with 2-2 record after 4 games? We would all jump on board. No, you're not wrong. I don't disagree, Aaron. Overcome Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. Tennessee's to me that other loss. If you had to, if you wanted me to put money on it, I don't like Arkansas's odds against Tennessee. I tried telling you guys. I had people in my chat arguing with me about Tennessee. I told you they're pretty damn good. They're going to be salty, and they could very well beat. I don't know that they do. I wouldn't take them, but it wouldn't surprise me to see them split the Georgia-Florida. So they lost to Georgia. They could beat Florida. They are disciplined. They are well coached. I know that game, obviously they lost, but you go back and watch, especially that first half, first couple of quarters, all the way up until about the third quarter. Tennessee, they play physical. They play fast. They're recruiting really well the last couple of years. They always recruit top 20. They're always a top 20 program. They dominate their state in terms of recruiting, similar to how Arkansas does, although they have Vanderbilt, an SEC program. But, I mean, come on, is that really competition? Although they did lose a four-star prospect to Vanderbilt a few years ago. I think that's the only one. I forgot the kid's name, but I remember reading that and thinking, what just happened? But I would definitely say that for me, yeah, Alabama going to be a loss. And I think Tennessee's going to be a loss. Florida's going to be a loss. And then we'll have to wait and see. Ty, let's take a sec and talk about how awesome these 3s and 4s have stepped up. Walk-ons. This is why I'm so high this season. These coaches have lifted their ceilings. They've bought in. I agree. Walk-ons have played their rear ends off, man. I mean, they've played really hard. You can't argue with that. Yeah, Tennessee was better than I thought they'd be. Ole Miss, I think, will score a ton of points on Arkansas's defense. Arkansas has yet to show that they're going to give up a ton of points, even against Georgia. You go back to that Georgia game, they tripped over their own cleats. It was very clear, especially in the second half. They didn't know how to prepare for Stetson. Stetson kind of just they didn't know how to prepare for the guy. They obviously took Mathis completely out of the game. No one has really come in and overly dominated Arkansas with offense. It's been help from Arkansas. Again, going back to the Georgia game, I don't know. Ole Miss looks good on the offensive side of the ball. They're playing really good. Again, I'm not going to do anything until Friday to talk about that. We'll talk about that on Friday. Would love to see Bama lose to Georgia. Hey Ty, all of NCAA football are screwed up due to CV guidelines. Wanted to give you the shout out. What's up, girl? How you doing? Hope all is well. Get caught up on chat. I can see Georgia being the top team in the SEC. It seems like they are the only powerhouse that has a defense. That's a good point. Someone today on Twitter or yesterday put out a power ranking. They ranked Georgia ahead of Alabama. This time last year, the team gave up under Morris. Pittman has every player on the roster bought into this program, and everything has looked better. I couldn't have said that better myself. Celtics for life. That's a very good point. Arkansas playing with 3s and 4s and walk-ons. LSU has 4 and 5 stars. Big difference is coaching. Yeah, that's a very good point. What's up, Jose Biden? How you doing? YouTuber Trump. Hope you guys are doing well. But I like what Mr. T-Dub's saying. I couldn't agree more. Celtics for life. You guys are dead on. This team is bought in. I can't wait to see what they do when they have. And I'm not trying to take a dump on this roster. I promise you I'm not. But I can't wait to see what this team looks like healthy with some more help. I can't wait to see when they have depth. This staff has done an incredible job. Coach Rhodes, linebackers, I mean, yeah, they didn't dominate, but Auburn plays a little bit different brand of football. They don't throw a whole bunch of checkdowns like Mississippi State does, but Rhodes deserves a ton of credit. DeBlanc, I think, deserves a lot of credit. Look at Jonathan Marshall. Look at the transformation. Does that not remind you of Armand Watts, his last year? Is that not just identical? Armand Watts doesn't do anything, and then his last year here, he gets drafted. He plays good enough that he's a draft prospect. That is exactly what I think is going to happen with Jonathan Marshall. If he continues to play like this. Shout out to Brad Smith, these assistants, Coach Stepp. Are you kidding me? I couldn't believe the hot take we had in Discord over the weekend. Someone suggested firing Stepp. What? Are you kidding? Look at what they've done with Devion Warren, Mike Woods. You don't have Burks. You've got Knox who's dropping everything. I swear the guy slathers his gloves in butter. I don't know what the hell he's doing, dropping that pass in the back of the end zone. He dropped 2 passes. He's only been targeted 5 times. I think he has 3 drops. That's why he's not involved. I've had people DM asking me that on Twitter. What's up with Knox? Your guess is as good as mine. He's dropping everything. Your quarterback has to have confidence in you. And what's crazy is last year, this guy jumps up into the air, adjusts perfectly as the ball. That's what adjusting is. When the ball's in the air, the receiver identifies the ball, adjusts his body, puts himself into position, snags the ball out of the air. He was doing that last year as a true freshman. He looked like a 3rd, 4th year player. Had great hands a year ago. I don't know what the hell happened. Knox is he's a conundrum. Like, you expect him with that size. He's a mismatch. Not super speedy, but for his size, he's pretty damn athletic. He's not afraid to jump out for the ball. He can make big plays. Last year, I'm on NCAA 14, the garbage, and I'm putting his spectacular catch up to like 85, 86, which is high on that game. And then this year, it's like his catch rating should be like 50. For anyone who doesn't know, NCAA football, EA Sports football game, no longer made. 50 is really bad. 50 is terrible. That means you're not catching anything. I don't know what's going on. Knox has been I don't know. These coaches have 2 stars and 3 stars playing pound for pound against 4 and 5 stars. Trust me on this one. They have the passion to play beyond their perceived limitations. Mr. T-Dub's killing it today in our chat, guys. Tip of the cap to him. Mr. T-Dub killing it. Marshall finally putting his immense strength to use. That guy's strong. If he plays good enough, he's going to get an NFL Combine invite. I'm really curious to see how often or how many times he can push 225 up. I'm really curious. Knox will bounce back. It's all mental. Maybe that is the case, David. I have no idea. I hope he does. He's talented enough. Warren should start the rest of the year. Devion Warren is probably one of the top 3, top 4 fastest guys on this team. When he runs the fade, he can break loose. And that's the thing he hasn't done. Number one, he's not caught the ball well up until this year. And his route, apparently his knowledge of or the ability to run solid routes wasn't really there. But he is a hell of a – you run him on a go route or on a fade, and that guy's going to burn past most secondary. Like, especially – think about it if Knox turns this on. If Knox turns it on. Burks comes back and he's healthy. Rakeem Boyd, although how about Treylon? We haven't even talked about him. Treylon's been great. Treylon really stepped up big time. Really proud of him. That guy had a ball game. He's the first back this year to finally get something going. Not only could he get it going out of the backfield, he was catching the ball out of the backfield. But imagine when you've got 2 other weapons on this offense with someone with that kind of speed and athleticism that Devion Warren has. Devion Warren could put up some serious numbers. Maybe not like 10 catches a game, but like 5 grabs, 4 grabs, but has like 85 yards, at least a score or 2. And then maybe, again, if these guys step up, Franks is good enough. That's another guy we're not bragging enough about. Felipe Franks, who I was skeptical, okay, he got beat out, but now you're seeing who he lost to. That guy at Florida is phenomenal. Arkansas got a damn good deal out of him coming to Arkansas. He has worked out great. I do not understand the criticism of him so far. I always say that. Because you never know, he could have a bad week. And again, my Florida friends are reminding me it's coming. Look, it's football. He's going to have a bad game. Maybe that was Georgia when he threw a couple of picks. But anyways, Devion Warren's only become more lethal in Woods in this offense. That's just more pieces. That's more pieces on the chessboard, baby. That's more pieces that you can run with, that you can do something with. You can establish the offense. And look what happened. Look what happened when the run game started to turn it on. And it wasn't even running the ball out of the backfield. It was screens. It was finding different ways to get the running back involved. Similar to what they've been trying to do with TJ with that stupid end around or the double reverse. They're trying to find a way. And that's why I think Kendall's actually done a decent job considering the circumstances. And you're finding it. You're finding it in Treylon. Treylon's your guy. We've been saying it's Rakeem. Rakeem can't stay healthy. He can't stay on the field long enough. Someone else needs to step up. We saw Spivey. I don't know how healthy he is. I know he got taken out in that game due to injuries. But you saw what happened when the run game started to click. When all of a sudden, oh, wait, they've established the run. They're getting, instead of 2-3 yards, now they're getting 5, 6, 7 yards. It opened everything up. It frees guys up. That's what this offense can do. Get your guys out in open space. Let them do some damage. Run a couple of tunnel and smoke screens. Find a way to make the offense work one way or another. Sometimes it's trick plays. That's just his arsenal. That's what Kendall does. We can criticize it all day long. He's going to do it. I'm impressed. I was really impressed with how they not only did they find the run game and found themselves on offense in the first half, it didn't die down. They got just as good, if not better, in the second half. Not only that, Odom completely adjusted. The run game goes from 211, 215 yards of offense on the ground in the first half to the second half only giving up like 45 yards on the ground. Your offense isn't going 3 and out. Things were clicking. If you play that way the rest of the year, I'd like a takeover. I would like some sacks. I would like more pressure on the quarterback. But if you if you turn all that on and you get to clicking on offense, baby, you're going to score. Arkansas is going to be tough to deal with year one under Pittman, and maybe Mr. T-Dub is right. Maybe you do finish with only one loss on the year. I don't think that happens. A lot of other variables, including the god-awful officiating in this terrible conference. Anything is possible. I'm really impressed with what they've done. You guys are right. You're dead right. I was wrong. This team is bought in. These kids are it's ride or die, baby. They're strapped. They're helmets, not firearms. They're ready to go. They want to rip some ass, and I love it. I'm loving it. I'm bought in, man. I'm in. I haven't been this psyched for football since I started this channel. Like, I'm pumped for Ole Miss. I hope you get the win. Franks didn't have any time against Georgia. He did not. He was pressured. You had no run game. When you have when your pass protection breaks down, and by the way, I will say my biggest criticism of Franks is the hesitation's got to go away. It's do or die. You either tuck that ball and take off and run, or you get rid of it. You do something with the ball. You can't take sacks. You can't run around like a chicken with its head cut off back in the pocket once it starts to collapse. Pass blocking has honestly been pretty decent. I knew they would be improved. I didn't think they'd be that improved in pass breaking. Ty, I think this is the first time I've seen you go live for a full hour. Congrats. I didn't realize I was going for a full hour. Whoops. Am I at a full hour? We are at a full hour. With Craddock calling the plays. It almost seems like we hit that reverse. It almost seems like we hit that reverse, not playing in the first quarter and killing the fourth. Been running second, third, and fourth string guys, doing good. Hell threw in the water, boy. What is up with Dorian Gerald? I don't know what's going on. The roster, so the depth chart did come out, and Dorian Gerald is on it. I don't know if he's going to be out there or not. You're going to see at least 3 picks in this Ole Miss game. Odom will have them seeing the plays before they develop. Our defense will be the stars of the game. Our offense will be fired too. All right, Mr. T-Dub, you're writing some checks. 3 picks? I don't know. We'll see. Quarterback doing pretty good over there at Ole Miss. This is the first time in years that our coaches actually put our best players on the field. And we finished 5-5. Coach Pittman deserves. If we finish 5-5, he deserves Coach of the Year. It's hard to argue against. Of course, it's going to depend on what Kiffin does. Obviously, if Saban goes undefeated, they're going to give it to Saban. We all know that. Yes, they effing lied to us. Same play called against South Carolina, resulting in a Mizzou touchdown. He literally walked into the end zone and picked up the ball right after the whistle, and they reviewed it. I'm done with that. I'm done. I've moved on. I went on my rant in the first 15 minutes of the show. I'm not going to do it again. Kill Ole Miss. I agree. So far this year, we've put the most offense on Georgia this year. Is that true? You might be right about that. I know we put up more points than Auburn did. T-Dub's confidence is writing checks that reality can't cash. I don't know. I mean, 3 picks is a lot, and I don't know if they have turned the ball over that much yet this year. But he's full of confidence. And look, like I said earlier, the guy hasn't been wrong. Mr. T-Dub has been one of the more accurate people in chat. What a difference a year makes. We're talking about the Hogs winning and not another more screw-up. Facts. That's facts. Okay. I've got to go eat dinner, go help with the kiddos. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming through, dropping by. It was a rough weekend. We'll get over it. We let it all out together. I'm sure someone's going to come back, watch this video, and tell me to move on. And I just say, get bent. We had to vent some more. I mean, that was definitely worth 2 shows of just griping and moaning. And it's a Monday reaction show, people. But I thank every single one of you. To the Patreon supporters, thank you guys so much. If you're interested in joining the Patreon, the link is provided down below. It's a $4 a month minimum. That's it. Goes towards helping out the channel. If you don't want to do that, I do not have Cash App. I'm sorry. And what's the other one you guys are telling me to use? Venmo? Sorry, all I have is a PayPal. If you don't want to join the monthly thing, there is a PayPal link provided for you down below. You can go check that bad boy out. Again, I appreciate each and every one of you guys. I'm going to try and have the preparation video for Ole Miss. I'm hoping to have that out between Thursday and Friday. And the plan is to be live on Friday, and it's business as usual this weekend with Ole Miss with the halftime show over on the Hard Talk Podcast Facebook and the postgame show here. So, yeah, until later on in the week, I will see you guys later. Woo Pig Suey. I feel like I forgot something. I'm sure I did. Hopefully, if I did, I'll address it later on in the week. Woo Pig. I'll see you guys later.